So therefore, it is important for us to understand what is the reality of our inner self, inner happiness, eternal happiness. What is the true reality of our eternal abode, which is akhirah, and what is the reality of this worldly affair and world, and how much time do we spend upon these worldly affairs, and how much time we spend upon our spiritual affairs and affairs connected with akhirah. Wallahi, sometimes we wake up in the morning, and from the time we wake up we are running like crazy, and by the time we reach home we are exhausted, and then put our head on the bed, and the next morning we are ready again from the same race. As if astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, there is nothing else on our mind other than taking care of our bills and taking care of our basic necessities. The necessities and the bills which will not essentially provide us with the true happiness. And that's where Rasulullah has reminded us. He has admonished us as Muslims that basically look at how much need you have got for this life and how much need you have got for akhirah. So do not compromise your preparation of akhirah just because you are totally absorbed in the affairs of this dunya. If you really want to know how much this dunya as compared to akhirah, how much does it mean, then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَلْيَدَوْ أَحَدُكُمْ إِسْمَعَهُ فِي الْيَمِّ فَلْيَنْظُرْ بِمَا يَرْجِعُ. Just put your finger in the ocean and look at the amount of water which your finger brings out. That amount of water is the portion of this life, and the ocean itself is the life of akhirah. So are we going to be just focusing upon this much amount of water and forget about the entire ocean? That's what the Quran says. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. Do not become like the people who forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them forget themselves. There are many of us, really, wallahi, we have forgotten Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He has made us forget about ourselves. We do not take care of our health. We do not take care of our proper rest. We are day and night on computer, in the car, running over, basically talking over the phone, trying to make ends meet. Is this the life we want to live? And then after all of these struggles, leave the same house, the car, and the degree, and the children, and the money, and the account here, and go empty-handed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or we need to use this one as a runway and take it as a kind of, source of our flight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that from this alam al-dunya we can go to alam al-malakut and alam al-jabarut. Therefore, it is important for us to understand the reality of this dunya and spend the time and efforts upon it in accordance with its true value, and spend the time and the energies and efforts for akhirah in accordance with its eternity. Wallahi, even if we live here for 100 years, and you compare this 100 years with infinity, then this 100 years is equal to 0. So therefore, just understand the true reality of this worldly life and give that much significance to it as it is worth, and give to the akhirah and to the spiritual realm the time and the ability and the energy as is appropriate to that one. It reminds me of a statement of Sayyidina Imam Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He talking about the reality of this life and talking about how this life is dunya, adna, which is the lowest, and it is close to the heart because it is close to us, but at the same time it could be very dani, it could be very low, and especially when it pulls us down, it takes it away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it brings us down to this earth. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala says that look at the reality of this life. I mean, even if you are a millionaire or a billionaire, you will not eat more than 2, 3, 4 times. You will not have 2 shirts or 2 pants. You are just going to have 1 shirt and 1 pant. You are not going to just keep on eating day and night, or drinking day and night, or having intimacy day and night. Dunya and our physical existence has got some limitations. When you eat, You seek some player, but few minutes after that, the same dish is there, and you don't want to even touch it. When a person is thirsty, a person rushes to cola or some kind of juice or water, but after 1 or 2 glasses, a person does not want to even touch that same juice. Same thing happened with our physical relationship. We've got limitations. So what Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala says, look at, the best of the things which we basically need to drink is water. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, as the Quran says, that water is the source of our existence. And more than 70% or 75% of our body is what? Nothing but water. But look at water. We can't survive without water, but it is also the cheapest commodity in the world. Sometimes we say, he was throwing money like water, because water is thought to be the cheapest commodity. And the best of the food, as Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala says, is al-asal, the honey. And what is the essence of honey? It is some leftover of the bees. And the best of the clothes is the truly silk. And what is the origin of silk? It's kind of excretion of silk worm. And the best of the fragrance, what is that? The musk. And the musk is a kind of part of, or a gland of ghazal, an animal. And the best of the joy, sometimes human beings, we kill each other, and astaghfirullah, sometimes some people are just living for these kind of players. And the best of the player a person seeks is nikah, marriage or intimacy. And this is iltiqa al-khadanayn. What Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala says, it is nothing but the coming together of 2 urinary tracts. And even this life which is the dearest to us, this is not the statement of Sayyidina Ali what I'm saying right now, but the Quran says, Inna khalaqna al-insana min nutfatin amshajin nabtali. And in Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically tells us, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقًا قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ. That human beings, it's referring to a historical figure, but still, that human being basically وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقًا argues about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His existence, His authority, but forgets the mean origin and a very, very, I would say, low origin of His own existence. So therefore, this dunya, even our life and whatever is in this dunya as compared to akhirah is nothing. And our effort and the energies and the struggles which should go towards this dunya and these players should be less, far less than our efforts and than our money and the struggles which we should spend for our akhirah. The Prophet ﷺ said, Man ahabba dunya adarra bi akhirati. The person who will love his worldly life is definitely going to lose something of his eternal life. وَمَنْ أَحَبَّ آخِرَتَهُ أَدَرَّ بِدُنْيَا. And the person who is going to love his akhirah is definitely going to lose something of this life. فَلْيَأْثِرُوا مَا يَبْقَى عَلَى مَا يَفْنَى. So learn, be wise, be prudent, and prefer something which is eternal over something which is short-living, transitory in nature. Don't prefer the finite over the infinite. So give the infinite its due respect, its due proportion, and give the finite whatever is due to it. So the true happiness, my brothers and sisters, comes when we detach ourselves from this transitory world with its momentary pleasures, and we focus upon our inner selves and work upon our morality, upon our values, bring in ourselves the sense of forgiveness, caring, sharing, loving attitude towards other people, and connect ourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through our actions, through our statements, through our worldly and qalb or heart relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's where truly the true love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala covers us, and He sends us His angels to send the peace upon us, and this is where we feel the inner peace, and we are kind of in a sense of fulfillment with proper love for ourselves and proper love with our family, with our human being brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to connect ourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, prefer our connection with akhirah over our connection with this transitory world, and use this world to make our akhirah